Hi everyone, my name is Abhiraj Garikapati. Welcome to my YouTube channel Amazing Apai. Do you know how much Chahan respects Sung Jinwoo, or what about Agris? How much does Jinwoo's loyal shadow really respect his master? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down in today's video. We'll be giving each character a percentage of how much they respect Jinwoo, starting with the ones who have the least respect, working our way up to the ones who have the most. So let's get right into it with the first character, Kandiru, or as most people know him by, the Architect. This guy doesn't just have no respect for Jinwoo, he's got negative respect minus 20%. Kandiru is a straight-up psychopathic, egotistical maniac who despises humanity to his core. So, when Ashbourne made the choice to make Jinwoo his vessel, Kandiru completely lost it. He saw Jinwoo as nothing more than a weak, insignificant human who didn't deserve to become Ashbourne's vessel. Next up is Tarnak, who's got minus 15% respect for Jinwoo. Like the Architect, Tarnak can't stand humanity and thinks it's downright insulting that someone, like Jinwoo, a mere human, would become the next Shadow Monarch. But here's the thing, even Tarnak can't ignore how strong Jinwoo becomes over time. Still, his hatred for humans runs so deep that he could never respect Jinwoo. Moving on to another monarch, we've got Querisha, the Monarch of Plague, with minus 10% respect for Jinwoo. Known as the Queen of Insects, Querisha sees all her insect minions as her precious children. So, when she saw Beru, the shadow of the Ant King and under Jinwoo's control, she was not happy. She wanted Beru to break free and submit to her as his true mother. So naturally, this turned into a personal grudge against Jinwoo, as she absolutely hated that he had control over her child. And now for the last character in the less than 0% respect club, we've got Hwang Donsu with minus 10% respect. This guy straight up hates Jinwoo, and for one very personal reason. Jinwoo killed his brother, Hwang Donsu. That grudge ran so deep that Donsu literally dropped everything and flew from the United States to Korea just to track Jinwoo down and take him out. But when he found out Jinwoo was stuck in a red gate, he lost his shot and stormed back to the US, fuming. Donsu is the textbook definition of a selfish, murderous meathead. He doesn't value human life at all, except for his brothers of course, so yeah, he really doesn't have any respect for Jinwoo. Alright, let's get into Hwang Donsu's brother, Hwang Donsu, who's got 0% respect for Jinwoo. This guy had absolutely no respect for anyone he thought was beneath him, and he saw both Jinwoo and Jinho as nothing more than disposable E-rank hunters whose only purpose in life was to be sacrificed so he could make an easy profit on his raid. Even when Jinwoo revealed his true strength, turning the whole situation around, Donsu didn't gain even an ounce of respect for him. Nope, all he wanted to do was kill Jinwoo, out of pure rage and desperation. Let's move on to someone who's actually got some respect for Jinwoo, Kon Taeshik, who's got 35% respect. Now Taeshik's a pretty ruthless guy, but he's also got respect for anyone stronger than him. When he faced off against Jinwoo during the dungeon and prisoner's arc, things didn't exactly go his way, as Jinwoo ended their fight with a brutal stab to the chest. But here's the thing, Taeshik didn't go out bitter or full of hate. Instead, he accepted his loss with dignity, fully acknowledging Jinwoo's strength. And before he died, Taeshik even took the time to warn Jinwoo about the dangers of power, pointing out how easy it is to lose yourself when chasing strength. So in the end, Taeshik might have lost the fight, but he gave credit where it was. Now we've got a national level hunter, Liu Zhigang, and this guy's got 55% respect for Jinwoo. Now, Zhigang is one of the strongest hunters on the planet, and someone at his level doesn't hand out respect easily. But when it comes to Jinwoo, oh, he's got plenty of respect. Before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Apai grow naturally. Zhigang straight up told a Chinese reporter that Jinwoo wasn't just stronger than him, he was worlds above him, and if anyone doubted that, well, he thought they were fools. We also see how Zhigang treats those he respects, as after the International Guild Conference, he went up to Jinwoo, shook his hand, and even congratulated him for putting Thomas Andre in his place. So Zhigang's respect is earned, not given, and Jinwoo definitely earned it in his eyes. Next up, we've got Bok Yoon-ho, who's got 60% respect for Jinwoo. This guy was one of the first to really understand what made Jinwoo so terrifying. His strength had no ceiling, So when Yunho realized Jinwoo would just keep getting stronger, he was absolutely shocked. Like, how is that even fair? But it wasn't just shock, it was admiration. Yunho respected Jinwoo's power and potential, and he even said to Jinwoo, "I always believed that a single hero couldn't end a war by himself, but after recent events, I'm starting to think that maybe I was wrong." That's a huge statement, especially coming from someone like Yunho, who's no pushover himself. Moving on to another national level hunter, Thomas Andre, who's got 65% respect for Jinwoo. After their intense battle in the States, where Jinwoo nearly ended him, Thomas didn't hold a grudge. Instead, he showed nothing but respect. But what really earned Jinwoo his respect wasn't just his crazy power, it was his honor. And Thomas absolutely hates owing people anything, doing literally anything to make sure that he's even. So that's why he flew all the way to Korea just to treat Jinwoo to a meal and give him his wrath, which was his way of paying Jinwoo back for sparing his guild mates after they attacked him. Next up is Kim Sungshik, who has 70% respect for Jinwoo. Now, if you remember the double dungeon, Kim wasn't exactly the picture of bravery. He ditched Jinwoo, Joo-hee, and K-yeol to save his own skin by running through the gates. But that said, Kim wasn't all bad. After making it out of that double dungeon alive, the guilt of leaving Jinwoo and the others behind really ate away at him. He genuinely believed that the only reason he survived was because of Jinwoo, and it weighed on his conscience. So before he died, Kim finally came clean and apologized to Jinwoo for his cowardice. That apology, even at the end, showed he wasn't just some heartless coward. He truly respected Jinwoo and wanted to make things right. Now we've got Woo Jinchul, and he's got 95% respect for Jinwoo. Jinchul first witnessed Jinwoo's raw power up close during the Ajin Guild raid when he was sent to observe Jinwoo in action. So, when Jinwoo took down the dungeon boss with a single strike, Jinchul was left completely stunned. He was drained just from watching Jinwoo's overwhelming strength. Later, when Jinwoo and Jinho were heading to the International Guild Conference, Jinchul was assigned as their bodyguard. But he, of course, knew they didn't need protection, so he was incredibly embarrassed, especially when Jinho teased him about it. So bottom line, Jinchul sees Jinwoo as an absolute beast, and he truly respects him. Another character with 95% respect for Jinwoo is Hang Song-yi. When we first met her, she wasn't exactly the nicest, and she had also dropped out of high school to chase the fast money that came with being a hunter. But all that changed after her near-death experience during the Red Gate incident, where Jinwoo stepped in and saved her life. After that, she started to see Jinwoo in a completely different light. Instead of calling him Mr., she began referring to him by his first name, and she also made some big life decisions after the incident, like going back to school to finish her education, as she realized she would never reach the kind of strength that Jinwoo had. In the end, Song-yi respects not only Jinwoo's insane strength, but also the fact that he kept her safe the entire time during the Red Gate incident. Now, we're almost at 100% respect, but before that we've got Joo-hee, who's got 98% respect for Jinwoo. Joo-hee and Jinwoo share a really close bond, and she's been by his side through a lot, even following him on raids just to make sure he didn't get himself killed. She saw the brave side of him, but she was always concerned about his health. So when Jinwoo got seriously injured during a raid, she got genuinely mad at him for being so reckless. But she did tell him she'd forgive him if he took her out for a meal afterward. So it's clear she had feelings for Jinwoo, even back when he was just an E-rank hunter, and known as the weakest hunter of mankind. But after the double dungeon and the dungeon in Prisoner's Arc, Joo-hee retired from being a hunter and moved back home to Busan. Do you guys think Jinwoo should have ended up with Joo-hee instead of Chao? Comment down below. Alright, now we've got Antares, the Monarch of Destruction, who also has 98% respect for Jinwoo, despite being one of the most bloodthirsty and terrifying. Before we move ahead, please take a second to share on this video. Sharing helps this video reach friends who may also enjoy anime, gaming, travel, cricket, chess, career basics, or personal stories. Your support helps Amazing Apply grow naturally. Characters in the series, Antares actually has a strong sense of honor. So, when he first encountered Jinwoo and witnessed his insane strength and strategic brilliance, he was so impressed that he offered Jinwoo an insane deal. He would spare humanity from extinction if Jinwoo fought alongside him against the rulers. But of course, Jinwoo didn't take the offer, and eventually Jinwoo defeated Antares twice, but he still had nothing but respect and admiration for Jinwoo's strength. And even though they were enemies, Antares considered Jinwoo a worthy opponent. Then decades later, when Antares faced off against Jinwoo's son, Suho, he was incredibly disappointed to see how weak Suho was in comparison to his father. He outright told him that he was unworthy of succeeding Jinwoo as his heir. So, Antares truly respected Jinwoo, despite being on opposite sides. First up, with 100% respect for Jinwoo, is Song Chaeul. During the double dungeon when he was ready to sacrifice himself to save the others, Jinwoo, unable to move, told him to take Juhee and escape. Chaeul followed Jinwoo's order without hesitation, showing that he understood and respected Jinwoo's sacrifice. Later, when they met again, Chaeul was absolutely amazed by how much stronger Jinwoo had become. Then, when it came time for Chaeul to speak about the events during the dungeon and prisoner's arc, he lied to protect Jinwoo's secret, choosing to keep Jinwoo's true strength hidden. He understood that he likely had his reasons, and this small lie was his way of showing gratitude and repaying Jinwoo for saving his life. Now, with 100% respect for Jinwoo, go Gunhee. At first, Gunhee respected Jinwoo for his determination and resolve, as despite being literally the weakest hunter of mankind, Jinwoo still pushed himself to provide for his family, risking his life in every raid to support them, and Gunhee saw that kind of selflessness and admired it. But when he eventually learned about Jinwoo's true strength, Gunhee was left speechless, as he'd witnessed the drastic transformation Jinwoo had gone through, from a weak hunter to one of the strongest beings in the world. In the end, Gunhee holds Jinwoo in the highest regard, not just for his strength, but for his unwavering courage, his dedication to those he loves, and his mission to protect humanity at all costs. Moving on to his sister, Sangjin, who also has 100% respect for her brother. Jinwoo and Jin have a typical sibling relationship, teasing, bickering, but always caring for each other deeply. Now that Jinwoo has been forced to take over as the breadwinner of the family after their mother fell into a coma, their bond became even deeper, and she deeply cares for his well-being, especially when he's out on a raid, which we clearly saw when she yelled at him after he nearly died in the double dungeon. But for all of Jinwoo's sacrifices and the love he shows her, she has nothing but the utmost, most respect for him. After all, he's the one carrying their entire family on his shoulders. Next up, we've got Yu Jin-ho, and of course he's got 100% respect for Jinwoo. Jin-ho absolutely idolizes Jinwoo, but at first he only partnered with Jinwoo because he knew how powerful he was. But as they worked together, Jin-ho realized just how incredible of a person Jinwoo really was. Jinwoo treated him like a true partner and friend, never looking down on him despite their massive difference in power. And not only has Jinwoo saved him once, but he's done it multiple times, even going so far as to take down Thomas Andre, a national-level hunter, just because Thomas underling had hurt Jin-ho. So after everything Jinwoo's done for him, it's no wonder that Jin-ho has nothing but respect for him. Now we've got Jinwoo's wife Cha Hae-in, and of course she has 100% respect for her husband. At first she was interested in Jinwoo because he was the first hunter she had ever met who smelled nice to her. As if you didn't know, Cha Hae's sensitive to the smell of mana. Before we move ahead, please take a second to like on this video. A like tells me that you enjoyed this topic. Your support helps Amazing Pie grow naturally, causing hunters and monsters to smell bad to her. But later that initial curiosity turned into real feelings after she learned that he had saved her life during the 4th Jeju Island raid. Eventually, they of course became much closer, and now she's got nothing but respect for her husband. She respects his kindness, his strength, and how he always protects her. Someone else who also had a crush on Jinwoo was Eselrady-ru, who's got 100% respect for Jinwoo. When they first fought on the 80th floor of the Demon Castle, Jinwoo spared her life, which already earned her respect. But what truly blew her away was seeing his power firsthand, as Jinwoo's strength to defeat Baron on the 100th floor left her shocked. Essel was so impressed and grateful for everything Jinwoo had done that she wanted to celebrate by inviting him to a feast as her clan had now reached the top. But when Jinwoo used Shadow Exchange to disappear, she was left confused and sad. But despite that, she will forever hold a deep sense of gratitude toward him for everything he did. Continuing with the characters who's got 100% respect for Jinwoo, and now we've got Ashbourne, the former Shadow Monarch. Despite the fact that Jinwoo was pathetically weak and constantly within death's reach, he somehow always managed to escape with his life, and that resolve that he demonstrated in risking his life over and over again for the sake of his family impressed Ashbourne so much that he eventually came to believe that Jinwoo was worthy of inheriting his power. So he transferred his powers to Jinwoo so he could succeed him as the next Shadow Monarch, even going behind Candy Aru's back to make it happen. So Ashbourne saw him as someone worthy of carrying on his legacy. Now we've got Balilin, the first shadow of the video, and just like his former master Ashbourne, he holds 100% respect for Jinwoo. When Balilin became Jinwoo's shadow, he recognized the similarities between Jinwoo and his former master Ashbourne. He saw the same unyielding resolve and strength in Jinwoo, which made him believe that Ashbourne had made the right choice in selecting him as his successor. So he saw him as someone truly worthy of being the next Shadow Monarch, and he will happily serve him as his loyal soldier. Moving on to another shadow, we've got Aegris, and he's got even more than 100% respect for his master, as he's actually got 120% respect for Jinwoo. Aegris absolutely believes that Jinwoo is an amazing master, and it shows in every action he takes. He feels nothing but pride in serving him and is totally dedicated to fulfilling his duties. Being a knight, Aegris is respectful and chivalrous to the core, so much so that after every battle Aegris finishes for his master, he brings the head of his defeated enemy right to Jinwoo and kneels to him. But Aegris doesn't just see Jinwoo as his master, he sees him as someone worthy to serve and protect, with nothing but absolute respect for him. Oh, you probably thought we were done. Nope, we've still got one character left who's got even more than 120% respect for Jinwoo. Can you guess who it is? Well, it's of course Baru, and he's got infinite respect for Jinwoo, as he respects and admires his master like a god, even to the point of complimenting his strength and skills in the middle of a fight. Over time he started calling Jinwoo Your Majesty, after getting hooked on K-dramas, which gave him a fun way of speaking. Baru's also always eager to prove his worth by annihilating any threat to his master, and at the same time, Baru craves Jinwoo's approval and occasionally gets overzealous and trying to please him. So, to Baru, Jinwoo isn't just a master, he's everything. How much do you respect Jinwoo? Give me a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and watch this video next. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to Amazing Appy. Subscribing makes sure you do not miss the next video, and it gives me motivation to keep improving the quality of every upload. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.